The Montreal Canadiens make multiple moves as there have been players sent to Laval and even more put on waivers today. And what Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton did shows a big hint towards what the future looks like in Montreal, including one notable omission from being sent down. We got to dive into all of that. Plus, in the Athletics' recent article about destinations for Connor McDavid, we have a case for Montreal that just has us absolutely amped up. All of that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest, and we'll start with the Athletic. If Connor McDavid hits the market, what should each NHL team's pitch be to get him? And Arber Basu I gotta be honest, I got pretty hyped reading this. Let's read this again together. And you know what? He's absolutely right. You want to know what the future is going to look like, Connor? The future in Montreal is already in uniform every night. Have you seen any Von the Meetup highlight reel? Think he's special? How does playing alongside him for 7 years sound? How does the second line of Suzuki, Caufield, Slafkovsky sound? Or a blue line top four of Hudson, Dobson, Guhle, and Reinbacher? The oldest player listed there is Suzuki, and he's 26. You want a future, Connor? You could turn the future into the present in Montreal. Who chills? I mean, let's be honest, Jesse. If you're looking for a team to maximize your winning potential with your next contract, Connor McDavid, what better place in the entire NHL than Montreal? I know he's a Leafs fan from Ontario, but Jesse, I think Arpin's right. I don't think there's a better situation out there if you just want to win.
This is a strong pitch from Arber Basu, and I absolutely love it. And you have to deal with Lane Hudson, Ivan Demidov, Jacob Fowler, on top of what we already have rolling into the station right now, what we have established. You really got to love it. The Montreal Canadiens are the next wave in the NHL. And again, with the Oilers, that's the part why he hasn't signed the deal yet. Again, unreal that he's actually going to the season without a deal in place for next year. I would say the Oilers, the aging of the squad is a little bit of an issue. I would say even for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're an aging squad as well. If he doesn't want to just have that same problem in Toronto, come on over to the 417 down to Montreal. We're definitely going to take care of you. Absolutely. Josh, I'm just taking it as a compliment, the fact that we're even being in the talks of these types of conversations and how really we could benefit a player like Crosby, or in this case here, McDavid, through this young team that we have built, and really how that would just catapult us so quick here. You have to feel like we would just keep the same line as it is. He would be playing with Demidov, and we can really just figure out everything from there. That being said, Josh, isn't there a thing about star players going from one Canadian team to another, where totally not a thing in the US? Unless you're a competitor, it's normally okay. You can get traded, you can go to another American team. For some reason, I think one of the biggest problems of potentially stopping a move from Connor McDavid is just the optics of going from Edmonton to the Montreal Canadiens, and just feeling like that would hurt the Oilers even more. The fact that it's going to another Canadian team. But Josh, I feel like we need to let go of this ancient rule right now. It doesn't exist in the States. We want another cup back in Canada. Some of this archaic kind of mindset we need to let go of, and really just let the players go to the teams they feel they have the best chances of winning with.
Absolutely. And you know what? Hey, if he wants to win, like we said, there's no better place. And I completely agree. It could be tough look for Edmonton if he does end up there. And do I think he'll extend? Probably, but if he does, it's still a short term, but you really never know. There's crazier things have happened in the history of the NHL, so leave your thoughts down below. Do you agree with this take? Again, I think it's hard to disagree. The Montreal is going to look like the spot to be if you want to play some winning hockey, but to build a winning franchise, a winning team, Jesse, sometimes you have to make very difficult decisions, and that's one thing Montreal has been doing a lot over the past day or two. And last night, they announced a lot of players sent outright down to Laval, and today they announced the rest of the players that were getting cut from the Habs, training camp preseason that did have to pass through waivers. But we're going to start with last night. And Joshua Watt and Jacob Fowler, among others, like Tyler Thorpe, were officially sent down to Laval. And there are some other guys, again, went on waivers today that we'll talk about. But the big thing here is Joshua Watt. As Nicolas Cloutier said, look, he did whatever he could this summer, but, he really didn't seem to show the value that he could have at camp. He kind of seemed a little nervous, but, he can still work in Laval to try and get a call-up or a chance elsewhere. And Jesse, as the days are going by, I can't help but think what you've been saying for a long time is maybe ringing true. Joshua Waugh, maybe the most likely outcome for him is a chance elsewhere at this point. He has been usurped in this kind of depth chart by Oliver Kapanen and by Owen Beck, and even Florian Xhekaj, who we'll talk about in a little bit. I can't help but think a trade is coming at some point, but, I'm not going to give up hope, but I don't know. I feel like the final straw might have even been months and months and months ago now, and this is just another nail in the coffin for him, as much as I really do kind of hate to say that.
And it's just really another kind of casualty of maybe the depth that the Montreal Canadiens really have right now. And while it's getting exciting that this team is taking shape and we're getting so close to regular season hockey, obviously Joshua Waugh, with like all the work that he's put in the offseason, only to be, surpassed here by, Florian Xhekaj, which we'll get into in just a second, have to feel is very disappointing for him. But you have to feel, Josh, like he's going to get his chance again if he keeps putting in the work. He put in a lot of time in the gym in this offseason. You just have to feel like when he gets that chance at that NHL level, will it be in Montreal or somewhere else? It just seems like the writing's on the wall with all the depth. Like, where does he exactly fit in? We have so many players that we're trying to get run for that seem that they're ready kind of all at the same time right now. So as much as I love this player, we're going to see what happens. But obviously, like himself, like Belzile, and Sean Farrell, as it stands, will have huge roles here with the Laval Rockets. So it's going to be up for him to continue his strong body of work, because that being said, he did play well at the AHL. Took him a little bit of time, but he really got going. So we'll see what the future holds for him. But it's definitely looking likely that his future is probably going to continue somewhere else at this point, Josh.
Yeah, and he's going to want that NHL shot, right? And I'm sure the Montreal Canadiens organization are going to want to give him what's best for him. And at this point, I just think it's less likely that shot is in Montreal. So we'll have to wait and see. But like you said, look, it's a contract year. He put in the work this summer. He wants his money. He's going to put in the work this year. We're going to have to see what happens with him. But as you alluded to, it's not just him, right? Again, Fowler's down there. Not surprised about that. I think it's fine. I think he'll get reps in Laval this year. I'm not worried about that. But they also placed some guys on waivers today that were not waiver exempt. Includes Alex Belzile, Lucas Condata, Nathan Clermont, Mark Del Gaizo, and Sean Farrell. And there's two names here that I think stand out as most likely to get claimed, and that's Farrell and Del Gaizo. I had a tweet earlier. Look, we really hope Farrell passes through because he was so good in the second half. Though Del Gaizo, I think, is kind of sneaky. Like, he played 46 NHL games with Nashville last year. Decent depth defenseman, 7th D-man for a team that needs it. But Sean Farrell, I do expect these guys to clear, Jesse, but his second half under Pascal Vincent was so good last year. Ended up with 20 goals. I think he had definitely low single digits at the halfway point. The dude had an unreal second half. He had a great playoffs with 10 points in 13 games. Still a bit small. I don't know if he projects as a long-term fit for Montreal, but at the very least, again, in Laval, I think he's going to play a huge role, and I'm just really hoping that he passes through, because this was a move that I think was expected, but, kind of a sneaky one that could throw some things off for our boys down with the Rocket.
And just like Joshua Waugh for Sean Farrell, you have to feel like the NHL level kind of ceiling is definitely there. It's more about just finding the right fit. There's lots of teams that could use some good prospects where, Sean Farrell would maybe fit in a little bit better, as well as Joshua Waugh, because, I mean, as you said, 44 points in 6-7 games last year, nothing, to really scoff at. And we were seeing things happen. Even here, he's using that skill, but there was a little bit of tenacity and second efforts as a result that he was really making things happen and being a difference maker, which I think really matters. So I think Sean Farrell, against all the odds, had a really good camp. It's just a matter that we got some great players coming in right now, but it'll be interesting to see how Hughes and company really take care of this situation in the future. We want a strong Laval Rocket team, but obviously it's going to be interesting to see where these players kind of potentially want to go with their careers if they feel like they're being blocked right now, which is all the talent we have for the Montreal Canadiens at this moment.
And you know what? You know what else is strong? What would make a strong Laval Rocket team? Well, Florian Xhekaj. But the thing with him is, we didn't mention him because he's still around. He was not part of the cuts. Yeah. He's strong. He's a strong boy. Habs make their first big cuts. Xhekaj remains among the last 34 players at camp. And Jesse, just as a final note for this video, we know Owen Beck seems to be as the front runner for that third line spot with Bolduc and Newhook, though Kaiden still very much in play. A guy like Joe Veleno even still, but Florian Xhekaj's with these guys. The fact that he survived these cuts shows how much they appreciate him and just the Xhekaj brothers in general. He is making his mark, Jesse, and I think it's crazy to say, but we can't discount the fact that this dude, if he doesn't crack the roster with 13 or 14 forwards, he seems to be at least in line to be one of the first people called up, especially if we need a physical presence. How are you feeling about Florian as a final great note in this video to still be with the team this far into camp?
I'm feeling great about Florian. I mean, it's hard to, and a tough cut with Joshua Waugh. Yeah. But, again, that's what training camp's all about. There's lots of tough decisions. I think they got this right. Florian Xhekaj still deserves to be there. I think he'll probably be one of the final cuts just for a little bit of the season, if the discipline was there right away, because I think the offensive potential is maybe even more than Kaiden or Beck. He's making the team. It's really the discipline that'll come down to, but through his physical but offensive play as well, he's earned, this shot, and actually rising above Joshua Waugh in the depth chart is nuts.
Yeah.
And can he surpass? Now the question is Owen Beck and Oliver Kapanen. There's a possibility. Like, we cannot rule it out. He's been a difference maker. And you have to like really question, if your mind say, Louis, like, who am I going to bring in that's going to make the biggest difference on this roster from opening night? Other teams are going to see us coming. We need to stack this roster as much as possible. So 29 players there right now, 6 more cuts to be remaining. Going to be very interesting to see where this all pans out. But one thing we got to know, you never bet against a Xhekaj. And I'm just loving the type of camp that he's bringing, that type of competitive spirit here. So really shaping up nicely for the end of it.
Absolutely. And look, his career trajectory has gone like this. And, you know, I think Laval is probably the best place for him again this year, Jesse. Play up higher in the lineup a bit, gain some more experience, some more discipline.
Yeah.
But, like, the fact that we're even discussing this is absolutely crazy. You really never know what the ceiling is for these guys. Leave your thoughts down below on FArrell, Xhekaj, or maybe some other guys we didn't mention. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. We got to keep a close eye on the roster, but that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in every single day. Season's right around the corner, just a week or two away, and we're so excited for this ride with you guys. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.